Deform, reform.
You must have heard that a normal human being can only use a maximum of 10% of their brain. This movie shows what would happen if a person learns to use 100% of their brain. At the start of the movie, we are introduced to the lead character, Lucy. Lucy is living in Taiwan for her studies. Her boyfriend, Richard, brings her in front of a hotel and tells her that she needs to deliver a briefcase to a man named Mr. Jiang inside the hotel. However, Lucy had only met Richard a week ago, so she doesn't trust him much. Richard tells her that the briefcase only contains some papers and offers her $500 to do this job. But Lucy senses that something is wrong, so she keeps refusing. Richard then handcuffs the briefcase to Lucy's wrist and tells her that the key to the handcuff is with Mr. Jiang. Now, Lucy has no other option, so she takes the briefcase and goes inside the hotel. She tells the receptionist that she is there to meet Mr. Jiang. The receptionist makes a call, and Mr. Jiang's men arrive. They kill Richard and take Lucy to their boss, Mr. Jiang. Mr. Jiang had just finished killing someone, and seeing this, Lucy gets extremely scared. Mr. Jiang writes the code for the briefcase on a piece of paper and gives it to Lucy. Everyone hides behind bulletproof glass. Lucy thinks there might be a bomb inside, but Mr. Jiang's men point a gun at her and force her to open the briefcase. Crying, Lucy enters the code and opens it. Inside the briefcase, there are 4 blue packets containing blue crystals that look like drugs. Mr. Jiang returns to the room and calls another man who is heavily intoxicated. He puts some crystals on a plate and gives them to the man. When the man takes the drug, he starts laughing uncontrollably. Mr. Jiang then pulls out his gun and kills him too. This terrifies Lucy even more. Mr. Jiang tells Lucy that he has a job for her. Lucy, crying, says she doesn't want any job. One of Mr. Jiang's men punches her in the face, knocking her unconscious. Meanwhile, we are shown a professor named Professor Norman. He's giving a speech in an auditorium, explaining that humans can only use 10% of their brains. Though 10% may sound small, humans have still achieved incredible inventions with it. Flying planes, rockets, atomic bombs, and even cities under the ocean. However, there is one animal that can use its brain even more than humans, the dolphin, which uses 20% of its brain and can communicate without speaking, just by sending signals. Back to Lucy. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself in a hotel room with a bandage on her stomach from surgery. She fears that one of her kidneys has been removed. Mr. Jiang's men take her to him, and his doctor explains that they didn't remove any body part. They just placed a drug packet inside her stomach, which she will have to deliver somewhere. Since there were 4 packets, 3 other people are also brought in, each with a packet in their stomach. Lucy asks what kind of drug this is, and the doctor explains that the drug is called CPH4. He tells them that their job will be done within 24 hours. At the airport, Mr. Jiang's men will meet them, remove the drug packets from their bodies, and then they will take a flight back. He warns them that if anyone tries anything clever, their families will not be spared. Mr. Jiang gives them new passports and flight tickets, then covers their faces with black cloth and sends them away. Since their flights are still some time away, they are kept locked up. In the room, a man starts harassing Lucy. When she resists, he gets angry and kicks her in the stomach, causing the drug packet inside her to burst. The blue drug mixes into her bloodstream. At this point, Lucy loses all control over her mind. She screams in pain, and because of the drug, she first sticks to the walls, then clings to the ceiling. At this point, we realize just how powerful the drug is. After writhing in agony for some time, she crashes into a wall and passes out. Meanwhile, Professor Norman continues his speech, explaining that if humans could control 20% of their brain instead of just 10%, they could control every cell in their body. And if they could control 30%, they could even control others' bodies. But this was just his theory. Someone in the audience asks what would happen if a human could use 100% of their brain. The professor admits he has no idea. Back to Lucy. When she regains consciousness, her brain is now functioning at 20% capacity. She is no longer scared or timid. Instead, she appears extremely confident. Another man in the room tries to take advantage of her, but Lucy kills him, takes his gun, and shoots 5 people as she escapes. During the fight, she gets shot, but feels no pain. This proves Professor Norman's theory was correct. Lucy could now control every cell in her body. She eats their food, removes the bullet from her shoulder with her fingers, and collects the guns in a bag. She then takes a taxi to the hospital. Inside, a doctor is performing surgery. Lucy shoots the patient on the operating table and tells the doctor, "You couldn't have saved him anyway." She lies down on the table and orders the doctor to remove the drug packet from her stomach. Lucy takes the doctor's phone and calls her mother. She says, "I can feel everything. The Earth's rotation, gravity, even the heat radiating from my body. I remember everything, even when I was inside your womb, before I was born." When the doctor removes the drug packet, he sees half of it has already dissolved into her bloodstream. He asks what drug it is, and Lucy replies, "CPH4. The doctor is shocked and explains that CPH4 is naturally produced in pregnant women, but only in tiny amounts. It helps the baby's bones and muscles develop. He says, "If your body has this much CPH4, I don't understand how you're still alive." After this, Lucy goes to Mr. Jiang's hotel. She kills all his men and confronts him, stabbing both his hands with knives. She demands to know where the other 3 drug carriers were sent. When Mr. Jiang refuses to answer, Lucy places her hand on his head and reads his memories. She discovers that the 3 other carriers were sent to Berlin, Paris, and Rome. She then returns to her apartment. When she touches her roommate, she instantly knows all the illnesses in her body. Within seconds, Lucy reads all of Professor Norman's research papers on her laptop and calls him saying, "I've read all 6,700 of your research papers, and I need to meet you." The professor is shocked because it took him over 20 years to write them. Suddenly, Lucy appears on the professor's TV screen and says, "Your theory about human brain capacity is absolutely correct. Because of a drug called CPH4, I'm now using 28% of my brain. My mind is filled with immense knowledge, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't think I'll survive more than 24 hours. The professor tells her, "You must pass on this knowledge so future generations can benefit from it." Lucy demonstrates her abilities by manipulating electromagnetic devices, phones, and radios remotely. She says, "I'm coming to meet you." She then writes a prescription in Chinese for her roommate, explaining her illnesses, before leaving for the airport. At the airport, news reports warn that Lucy is extremely dangerous, so she disguises herself. She calls a police station in Europe and speaks to Officer 𝗟𝗏𝗲, giving him details about the 3 remaining drug carriers. She sends their data to his computer and instructs him to capture them and retrieve the drugs, saying, "I'll meet you in Europe after." 𝗟𝗏𝗲 arrests the 3 men at their respective airports, but Mr. Jiang's men witness everything. Meanwhile, Lucy boards a plane to Europe, now using 40% of her brain. Suddenly, her teeth start falling out, and her skin begins peeling. She locks herself in the plane's bathroom and is forced to consume more CPH4. After taking an overdose, she passes out in the bathroom. 𝗟𝗏𝗲 finds Lucy unconscious in the plane's bathroom with the CPH4. When she wakes up in the hospital, her brain is functioning at 50% capacity, and she can even change her eye color. 𝗟𝗏𝗲 arrives with police officers to restrain her, but Lucy knocks everyone unconscious with just a hand gesture, except 𝗟𝗏𝗲. She takes him with her to meet Professor Norman. Mr. Jiang's men continue monitoring the 3 carriers with drugs in their stomachs. The police take them to the hospital to remove the drugs, but Mr. Jiang orders his men to kill everyone and retrieve the drugs. Lucy, using her enhanced brain power, intercepts this call. She takes over driving from 𝗟𝗏𝗲 and speeds toward the hospital where the drugs are being extracted. 𝗟𝗏𝗲, shocked by her reckless driving, asks, "Do you always drive like this?" Lucy replies, This is my first time driving. At the hospital, Mr. Zhang's men are already there, removing the drug packets from the carriers. Lucy and 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲 arrive just in time. By now, Lucy's brain has reached 60% capacity. She stops Mr. Zhang's men by throwing them into the air and sticking them to the ceiling. She takes all 3 CPH4 packets and goes with 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲 to meet Professor Norman. One of Mr. Zhang's men tells him that Lucy is like a witch who knows black magic. Mr. Zhang says he knows about her powers and now wants to kill her with his own hands. He gathers many men and goes to the university to kill Lucy and get his drugs back. Meanwhile, at the university, Lucy is sharing her knowledge with Professor Norman and other professors. She explains that we've always been taught that 1 + 1 = 2, but numbers don't actually exist in reality. Numbers and letters are just things humans created for convenience. The only real thing that exists in the universe is time. Lucy starts sharing all her accumulated knowledge with the professors, but she still hasn't used 40% of her brain's capacity. At this moment, Mr. Zhang arrives with his men and starts killing university staff and police officers. 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲 tells Lucy they won't be able to hold off Mr. Zhang's men for long. Lucy tells Professor Norman to quickly inject the remaining CPH4 into her body. She says that after this, she'll use 100% of her brain's capacity to gather all knowledge and create a computer to store this information. The professors prepare drips with CPH4 and inject them into Lucy's body. After the injection, light comes out of Lucy's mouth, and her brain usage reaches 70%. Then her body starts to change. A black liquid begins flowing from her fingers, swallowing all the computer systems in the room. Her brain capacity then reaches 80%, giving her the ability to time travel. While sitting in one place, she can now see any place she wants. Lucy begins traveling back in time, first going to the age of dinosaurs. Then she goes even further back to meet the first human, who was half human and half ape. During this time, her brain reaches 90% capacity. While all this is happening, 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲𝗲 and his police officers are fighting Mr. Zhang's men. Mr. Zhang then uses a rocket launcher to blow open the door to Lucy's room. With her brain at 90% capacity, Lucy starts gathering knowledge not just about Earth, but about other planets and solar systems in the universe. Mr. Zhang enters with a gun, but before he can shoot, Lucy reaches 100% brain capacity. When Mr. Zhang fires his gun, Lucy disappears. 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲𝗲 arrives and shoots Mr. Zhang dead. The black liquid that came from Lucy's hands forms into a USB drive, which Professor Norman picks up. This drive contains all the knowledge of the universe. 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗲𝗲 asks where Lucy has gone. At that moment, a message appears on his phone from Lucy that says, "I am everywhere." And with this, the movie ends. The movie has a 6.4 rating on IMDb. If you enjoyed this story, like the video and consider subscribing for more gripping movie recaps like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.